Welcome to Tribute to Women, Shining On. Join us as we look back throughout the years of this paramount campaign established in 1992 by YWCA of Northeast Tennessee and Southwest Virginia. We welcome you to follow along as we highlight some of the women who have gone above and beyond to earn this award. We are incredibly honored to be able to have the opportunity to catch up and learn not only about their past achievements, but hear about what journeys these women are currently traveling. I'm Heather Smith, and thank you for joining us today.
Hello, and today I have the opportunity to sit down with Miss Katy Sikorski, who received the Tribute to Women Award in 2020 under the Transform category. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak with you today.
Thanks, Heather. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Katy, you were nominated by the Rotary Club of Bristol, Tennessee, and Virginia for your dedication and work in transforming the organizations you are a part of, as well as the community as a whole. Under your leadership, you guided Rotary Club's activities locally and internationally, and you played a pivotal role in the establishment of the Caterpillar Crawl, a permanent scavenger hunt in downtown Bristol. You were successful in raising community funds to help support critical projects throughout the Wellmont Foundation. With all of these accomplishments in mind, how did you feel when you learned you would be receiving YWCA's Tribute to Women Award?
Well, it even started before that. I mean, even to be nominated, I was completely blown away, flattered, did not feel like I was worthy to even be nominated. So when William Burroughs came and said, "Hey, Rotary Club wants to nominate you," I thought, "No way." But they did, and I was so appreciative. So when I was approached by the YW and celebrated in that regard, it was just a flood of emotions for being a part of a group of women that I admire and think have done so much in our community in amazing ways, but also to just be recognized for something that just seems natural to me, to help the community and be involved in things that I've really enjoyed.
That's amazing. You know, your passion and dedication to build up the community is just astounding. The YWCA's mission is to empower women of all ages and to help set the path and inspire them to achieve any goal they might set their mind to. Can you tell me what or who was the inspiration that has driven you to strive for all of these accomplishments you've achieved?
Oh gosh, that's a loaded question, with lots of answers. And I think I was fortunate to, of course, be in a family with both my parents who guided me to strive to do things, to take chances, to fail if that's okay. You learn from that. But then also a mother who was also involved with volunteer work and included my brother and myself in that. So it was just part of what we did as a family, as a mother-daughter team. And I think that carried with me. And of course, my mother-in-law is also, Nancy DeFreeze, is also very involved in the community. And so she has always been an inspiration since she's been in my life and continues to do so in Bristol. And then, along the way, whether it was in junior league or Rotary or volunteering on a board or just meeting women in our community, it just energizes me. And I hope that I energize other women by applauding them, by cheering them, by encouraging all of us to take chances, to be the best that we can be, and leave behind a legacy that makes our community better, improvements all around.
You know, it takes a village to just build up the community, and it's something that we can each do our own part in helping out. But ultimately, it absolutely takes having this network of amazing people who share the same visions as yourself and just building up that community involvement. And it's so awesome to hear you speak of that. As we had mentioned before, you received the award in 2020 and were nominated by the Rotary Club of Bristol, Virginia, and Tennessee. And 2020 was a very, very unique year for the Tribute to Women program or campaign, as it occurred in the heat of the pandemic. And while we didn't have our normal gala, our dedicated campaign committee, they personally delivered flowers and certificates to those who would be receiving the award. Would you care to tell us a little bit about where you were in life when you got that certificate and the flowers?
Well, yes, it was a afternoon. I work from home. I manage clinical trials for a company called PPD, Pharmaceutical Product Development. So I have been working from home even before the pandemic. So it was natural for me to be here. It may not have been natural for me to be here and look professional for people to come to our house, but thankfully got a little bit of a warning. The group of women that came and knocked on our door, along with William Burroughs, who had nominated me, to just say, great job, we celebrate you, we see you, especially during a time when we weren't comfortable going to other people's houses. We weren't sure, do you wear a mask? Do you not wear a mask? How do you wear the mask? It just was so touching that even to socially distance on the front porch and to just say, even in this crazy world, we celebrate you, just was so amazing. And while I'm not sure if it was more or less emotional than the traditional dinner and celebration, the fact that the YWCA women took the time to be innovative and creative and still continue the tradition of celebrating women was just wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
And being able to highlight those women even through the heat of the pandemic and to say, hey, we see you and we recognize you, and we are so thankful that you are doing your part to keep the world running. I think that was such a pivotal time for that kind of more intimate setting to happen, to say that we see the amazing work you're doing. And, once again, the work you have done to build up the community, as well as the impact you have made on the Wellmont Foundation, are amazing accomplishments. And as always, when we begin our work of setting goals to help us achieve these larger accomplishments, it is inevitable we will be faced with challenges. And, if you don't mind to share, what do you feel as though was your biggest challenge? And what did you do to kind of overcome that?
Wow. I think in work and in community and boards and projects, you always run into challenges. Nothing is ever perfect or wine and roses the whole time, and you learn from those. But I would have to say, in my life, the most challenging point was when I couldn't do things because of health. And I had never experienced that. And so when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, with no family history, having been a part of Wellmont and the foundation and helping establish the Leonard Family Foundation and helping Wellmont establish the Leonard Family Foundation Breast Center, to then learn 6 months later that I was not only previously an employee, but now I was a patient. So that was my biggest challenge. And I ended up having to do a lot of surgeries and a lot of chemo. And with that, it's really easy to turn that focus that was away from you. And that's what I was used to, is helping others, to the point where I couldn't even help myself. And then I was having other people help me, which was really uncomfortable for me because that's not what I'm used to. But gosh, as scary as that was, I met some really amazing people. And I truly believe there are angels on earth. And they touched my life and encouraged me even in the darkest moments. And so I think learning from that, looking back, now that my hair is back, now that I feel like I'm the old Katy again, that life isn't perfect, and there are a lot of highs and there are a lot of lows. And no matter what you've been given or not given, you're going to have those roller coaster rides. And it's keeping the faith, keeping positive attitude, and allowing those what could be really terrible moments, finding the silver lining out of those and taking that and taking it with you. And I really, truly, while I would never wish cancer on anybody, it truly has, it's just part of who I am and what I continue to do moving forward.
And thank you so much for sharing that, part of your life with us today. And it's very inspiring to hear you speak about how, you started on one side of the Wellmont Foundation and ended up on a different side, the part that you were those people who you were helping. And I think it's so incredibly important for us to always remember to be thankful, because at any given moment's notice, things could change. And it doesn't matter what walk of life you come from. We don't know what tomorrow holds. So it is so incredibly inspiring to hear you speak of the challenges you have overcome, and specifically you speaking about how you were relying on people to help and you weren't used to that. You had to kind of take a step back and say, I need help. And they say hindsight is 2020. We are always kind of looking back to see what we could have done better, what we could have done differently, constantly questioning. I think I'd like to end this interview today with this question for you. If you could go back and give your former self at any given point in time a piece of advice, what would you tell yourself?
Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't get caught up in the minutia. There were a lot of sleepless nights over silly things when I look back on it, and a lot of stress and a lot of just, it's not important. It's not important. And if you, in your heart of hearts, are doing what you feel is right and making the world a better place in your mind, it's all good and it all works out.
Words to live by. I 100% agree with that. Absolutely. Katy, I want to thank you so incredibly much for taking the time to join me today and just to share your journey with us. You are an absolute inspiration to others, and your light has shined so incredibly brightly. For myself, as well as all of us here at YWCA, Northeast Tennessee and Southwest Virginia, please keep shining on.
Thanks, Heather. You do the same.
Thank you.
If you know someone who has shared their light and would like to honor or memorialize their impact, please visit the link below to submit a tribute. All donations go to support the vital programs of YWCA of Northeast Tennessee and Southwest Virginia. Thank you.